Welcome back now. This is still the Polity, and we're reaching you live from the Abuja studios of Kaftan TV. Right now, I have a politician, a political analyst, a public affairs analyst with me in the studio, and with him we are going to be delving into some of the issues that have been making the round. But firstly, his name is Richard Oriri. You're welcome to the program.
It's my pleasure.
It's good to have you here once again.
Thanks for inviting me to your show.
You know, the last time you were on the show, you promised to come back again, and you know, you honorably kept to your word. We must commend you for that.
Thanks a lot. It's a national issue, national problem, so there's no how we will run away from
definitely
contributing our quota.
Definitely. So viewers, on the show today, our phone lines are now open. You can now call in to ask your questions and also make your contributions. Richard Oriri, let's start from the gory killing of men of the Nigerian military and some civilians some days ago in Delta State. It wasn't really a good sight to behold, seeing that men of the Nigerian military, in that number 16, were killed, you know, on the spot. It feels more like an attack on the sovereignty of the nation, just like the president put it. How do you react to such incident?
Today, the whole nation is mourning. And first and foremost, I have to send my condolences to the Nigerian armed forces and the entire country at large. It was a very horrific situation, and ordinarily that shouldn't
have happened.
Has happened. In the first instance, it was not even supposed to happen. But the problem we are having in Nigeria today is that the Nigerian military, they are overstretched. That is one issue. They are overstretched. The issue they went for before they attacked was launched on them. Wasn't an issue that should warrant military appearance. It's a purely internal issue, internal security issue, which should have been handled by the Nigerian police or the secret service, the Department of State Service,
Security,
State Service. So, but here we are, a country that even if husband and wife is having altercation, the next thing they do is to invite the military to go for assistance. We are not at war in Nigeria. It's only when a nation, a country like ours is at war that we are supposed to be losing our soldiers. There is no external aggression. There is no war that should warrant the killing of these soldiers. But what I will advise is that the military, it has happened, but the reprisal attack from the military too, they have to subpedal. The crime has been committed, and yes, they have to go and look for their men, especially the gun. But they should subpedal. But everyone involved in the attack, the law should do everything to bring them out. And I was happy when I held the president's statement being released concerning the killing of the military men. He said they should do everything to bring every perpetrator of that act to justice.
According to the president, he said the defense headquarters have full authority to bring the criminals to justice. But then, if we take a look at the, you know, what led to the killing in the first place, we discover that it was a land dispute, just like you said, a land dispute between two communities. Ordinarily, these are issues that
should be handled with
by
the community leaders.
By the community leaders, and if it goes out of their control,
the court is there.
The Nigerian police force,
the court is there.
The court is there, and we still have men of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps that that can stand in terms of providing cover to resolve these issues. But what do we make of a situation whereby two communities are engaged in communal clashes, and we are having men of the Nigerian military? It is the men of the Nigerian military that are deployed there to restore order. Is that not pointing to a break in the order of communication, or a total break in the order of things? Because in a state, in a state that has a state commissioner of police, this ordinarily should have been on the table of the commissioner. In
the first instance, the two communities involved in this crisis, this land dispute issue, they are supposed to have the mechanism to maintain peace first before you even involve the state commissioner of police. And that is why in most of our communities today, the community leaders, they are now political leaders, not community leaders, because the communities are not the ones who elect to appoint them to lead them.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Please tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Yeah, Mr. John, I'm calling from Asaba, Delta State.
All right, Mr. John from Asaba. Please tell us the situation of things in Delta State right now.
There is little fracas somewhere in Opanam, but that is not why I'm calling.
Okay.
I'm calling in respect of what we are discussing.
Okay.
If I remain that the military is not supposed to go to where two communities have dispute over land. The military is supposed to defend our territorial integrity. It was supposed to have been a matter to be handled by the Nigerian police. Just as the man there is talking, rightly said, our military in most cases are put in to come and start handling matters that should also look concerning the first instance. And then secondly, we should ask ourselves this simple question: who invited them? The people that invited them are supposed to have been picked up and interrogated, because they know exactly that there's a problem there. Why should they invite the military in a matter that is supposed to be handled by the Nigerian police? You see, the country we are in, the way things are going, some of us really get embarrassed. We are all touched by the lives of those young men that must have been cut short just because somebody wants people in green uniforms to come and preside over a matter that should have people involved in uniform. This is my start. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. John from Delta State. Thank you so much for your contribution. Mr. Richard, while this man was making his submission, he said something that caught my attention, and it's the fact that we need to be talking about who, in particular, invited the military.
That is even what I want to add. That is even what I want to talk about. That is even what I want to talk. He made a very salient point, very salient point there, because now, like in the 80s, when Metasini emerged, just like Boko Haram today, then it was General Halilu Akilu. He was the one in charge of the Nigerian Defense, Director of Defense, Military Intelligence. Before he led the Nigerian military to Kano to go and disseminate Metasini, the governor of Kano State that time, really has to write to the head of state requesting for the military assistance. That is, due process was followed. But today, due process when it comes to area of security they are not being followed. Like he rightly questioned, who was that person that invited the military? In some communities now, even when two politicians are having quarrels, because of the insecurity across Nigeria today, that most local government now you have military presence because of the insecurity across the 774 local governments in Nigeria. Some politicians who have influence in government will just pick phone and call the military commander in charge of that unit, not even taking order from the rightful authority. Call the person in charge of that unit to come to their community now and come and do this, just to intimidate community people because you are in government. If it is unraveled that the person who invited the military is a politician from within one of that communities, that person should equally be punished. Because the death of this young man doesn't, in fact, it was not even supposed to happen at all. If rules, protocols, code of conduct of the Nigerian military was followed, I don't think it was followed. I don't think it was followed because now, and the way and manner with which the youth of that community handled the military shows how sophisticated they are. They are 16 military officers, well trained.
You know, Richard, you know, while growing up, you know, even if it's, you know, kind of the ideas we had due to the environment, then, you know, we grew up with this idea that one military man is equal to 1,000 civilians.
A complete community.
You know, we grew up with this idea that if something happens in a particular environment and like just two military men, they can take down a whole community. But then 16 men of the Nigerian military, you know, taking down just like that, just like you know, normal civilians. You know, it tells a lot about how, you know, sophisticated the youths are. And this again should be, you know, do you think this should be a pointer to the, you know, to the amount of chaos that, you know, that's going on in that very community, and that has not been, you know, that has not been reported till now? Because, you know, military men, 16 military men and military men taken down just like that is not something that should be swept under the under the carpet. Because if we talk about the what's going on in the northeast, you know, the Boko Haram and the others, we know we are fighting, you know, a full-blown war as regards that. But then, you know, these are clusters of issues that, you know, that has not been, you know, making it to the, you know, front pages of our national dailies, has not been making it to the big screens. So what are these, you know, what kind of warning should this send to the Nigerian Defense Headquarters? What kind of warning should this be sending to the Nigerian government at this point?
It's not just to the Nigerian Defense Headquarters, but to the nation, Nigeria at large. We are sitting on a keg of gunpowder. There is no community that is left out of this presently in Nigeria. Because we are just talking about a community. Like now, the insecurity going on all over the country, and the communities, most communities in Nigeria today, they have lost hope, trust on the defense of this country. Definitely. So for that reason, they are now resorting to self-help. So most communities today, they have military units that is being occupied, led by the community youth. And from what I heard, the land dispute is between two communities. Maybe the one community have seen that a politician from the other community have invited the military to come and suppress them. Then the youth of the other community who feel that if they should allow this to happen, they will be shortchanged. Maybe that community youth were the one that carried out this dastardly act against the Nigerian military, and it's very, very wrong. Like the other day, I was told by one of our youth member in my local government that in Benue State, that volunteer guards You know, when the immediate past government was in place, former Governor Tom, he constituted a community volunteer guards, and guns were made available for these volunteer guards. They are not placed on salary. Meaning there is no political ward in the entire Benue State that you will not see gun and ammunition. What over 20-something, 30-something in every community. In every community. In the hands of wrong people. In the hands of wrong people. It's applicable to other communities. Who have not been trained. They are not trained anywhere. Nobody trained them on how to handle guns. But they have recruited them as volunteer guards and as security, like vigilantes in the communities. And not even placed on salary. This one, government gave them gun. What about what we are now, like what has happened now? Some communities put money together to acquire guns in protection, preservation of their community values. That no enemy will come from outside to come and attack them, rape their women, kill their fathers, and go free. So most communities now, they have military department controlled by the youth. Majority of Nigeria, across the whole communities in Nigeria today. So this is another avenue that all of us should have to open our eyes to see that there's so much arms in the hands of wrong people in this country. Proliferation of small arms and ammunition in the hands of wrong people in Nigeria. And until we find a way to see how this hope, this loss of trust that citizens have lost on the government, there's a need for us to bridge this gap for trust, lack of trust on government. Because before, we take police very seriously. Today, nobody even cares whether you are a police officer. Even if you wear most police in Nigeria today, they are afraid to even wear uniform. Wear their uniforms. The only security personnel that can freely move anywhere with the experience of training and do anything now is the military. And that is why they are overstretched. Even when husband and wife, they are having serious quarrel, they will invite the military. It is not right at all. It is not right. We are sitting on a kind of gunpowder, and there is every need for us stakeholders to come together and see how we will salvage this situation. If not, when things will show up, there is nowhere anyone can run to. None of us will be saved. Thank you so much. So it's a problem. Thank you so much for that submission. Before we go over to our next issue, just a little reminder that our phone lines are still very much available. You can call in to ask your questions and also make your contributions. Moving on now, before the unfortunate incident of the gruesome murder of Nigerian men of the Nigerian military, Nigerians have been back and forth on the alleged budget padding at the National Assembly, and in that regard, there has been a lot of reactions to it, as a lot of CSOs, the northern leaders, have been calling for probe into the allegations. But top of it right now is the suspension of the man in the middle of the whole conversation, Senator Abdul Ningi, who has been suspended for 3 months by the Senate. And in reaction to that, there's a headline here reading that some angry senators, have regrouped to remove Akpabio, to impeach Akpabio as the Senate President of Nigeria. Right now, some Nigerians are now asking, is this an Akpabio issue, or the fact that Nigerians, the masses, are about to be robbed of their common wealth? If the allegations are anything to go by, is it because of the fact that it is Akpabio that is leading the Senate, or
should we focus more on the fact that Akpabio is the man that sanctioned the suspension of Abdul Ningi, or we should be focusing on the merit of the allegations on ground that 3.7 trillion naira cannot be traced to any project in the 2024 budget?
It's a very sensitive issue. But the way Amana Ningi went about the issue was the reason why the senators rose against him, because to them he was exposing them, and maybe possibly he was doing that because he's not part of the team, because Ningi was on the other side, not on the side of Akpabio, right from the time of before the election was conducted. Both Ningi, even Senator Ojizo Kalwan, so they have their team, and Akpabio has his own team. So the Akpabio team now, they have seen what Ningi has done to be a kind of a civilian coup, that they plot to impeach Akpabio so that possibly somebody from their team will emerge as the Senate president.
Why did you describe it as a possible civilian coup?
A possible civilian coup because any of such allegation would definitely force the leader of the house, which is the Senate president, to resign, even if they are to conduct investigation. He cannot be a judge in his own case. It's against natural justice. So if they should allow that to happen and they allow investigation to take place, definitely Akpabio will step down as Senate president, because it's a very huge allegation. But in any case, the managers of that situation, they did not manage it well. It's not everything that you use hammer to resolve. There are some issues you use a peaceful approach to resolve. So, but he came up, they came up with the idea of force, to use force on Ningi, which is not going down well now with the side of Ningi, the Ningi camp. It's not going down well with the Ningi camp. So, in any case, what we are saying presently is that Ningi, they should go first. They should go.
Okay. Viewers, we'll take a short break now. When we come back, the program will continue. That unintended break in transmission. Richard, before we went on that short break, we were discussing the alleged budget padding and the suspension of Ningi, and also the alleged moves by the Ningi's camp to bring about an impeachment of the sitting of Senator Akpabio. What are you
just like as I was saying, the camp of Ningi were not very happy with were not too happy with Akpabio's camp, and that is why one of the senators from the south, he said it's because the Senate president is from the south, and that is why the northern senators are coming in this form to impeach Akpabio, so that the northern person will emerge as Senate president. That shouldn't be. That shouldn't be. And immediately after the suspension of Ningi, the southern senators, they came together to form a Southern Senators Forum. Elected their Senate president, their chairman, their vice chairman, and other members of the forum. It now, presently, the pressure from the Northern Senators now is that power. It's all about power, but the power play. Power is best defined as the ability to maintain your hegemonic influence and the capacity to equally stop a potential hegemons from rising. Now the Northern Senators, there is no section of this country that are not afraid of once they say Northern Senators Forum, you must be scared. So forming this Southern Senators Forum now is to merge force, so equate force with the Northern. So what is happening now is just like NATO and the USSR, NATO and Russia, the Warsaw Pact is being led by Russia. Now, NATO is led by US, Germany, France, and Britain, and all of those groups. So now the way the angle they are going, the way they are going, is not healthy for us now, because what we need is governance. And if they continue with this way, it will continue to be fight. The only solution to the problem in the Senate presently is for the Senator Akpabio to recall Ningi back. If Ningi is not recalled, they fight. What you have seen is just a tip of an iceberg. They have to call him back. They have to terminate his suspension. That is one of the steps that have to be taken to forestall peace in the Senate. If not, the Akpabio is sitting there as Senate President. It will not be possible.
Okay, now let me ask you this very tricky question now. Since the emergence of Senator Godswill Akpabio, from the onset of his administration as the Senate President, it has been from one issue to another. He has hardly had a week of a full week of rest as Senate President. There's every other week there's always the talk of Akpabio impeachment. With from the look of things now, do you think either the resignation of Akpabio, willful resignation of Akpabio, do you think it will bring peace to the Senate?
Akpabio, there's no Akpabio. Akpabio will not allow himself to be Akpabio will not just see himself resigning as Senate President.
Do you see Akpabio, running through his tenure, his 4-year tenure as the Senate President?
Depends on how he manages the senators. Most of these senators are ex-governors. They are not just children. They are forces in the Nigerian political system. From home, they are complete hegemons. And that somebody like Akpabio, who has served as governor for 8 years again, leading some other governors, intellectuals in the Senate. Look at that. So yes, he's from the same senatorial zone, from the same zone with Akpabio. But he has led the Nigerian Labour Congress before in a very forceful way, and he has led his state as governor before. If you calculate most of the people in the Senate today, they are very strong people, strong Nigerians. So Akpabio have to learn how to manage people, and liberal approach to issues, I think, is the only way that will make him succeed in the Senate as Senate President. If he wants to use force, he can't succeed. And he should equally try to limit the way he talks.
When you say liberal approach is the way he can succeed in the Senate, I want to understand what you mean by liberal approach. You mean, romancing the egos?
Not romancing the egos. Giving each and every member of the Senate
little bit of what they want.
No, giving each and every member of the senator, giving them the freedom to express themselves, like Ningina has expressed himself as citizen. Even if he's not a senator, that is a citizen of this country. And you, as a person, as a journalist, I strongly believe now that you have the constitution of Nigeria in your house, and even this budget that has been passed, you have a copy in your house. Even I should have a copy of the constitution of the passed budget in my house. And going through the budget, if you see any lapses in the budget, as a citizen, you can come on air to ventilate your grievances, your disagreement with the senators, because you have a senator representing you, representing your interests in the Senate. If they have done anything wrong with the budget and you don't feel free swallowing it like that, you can ventilate your grievances. Ningi, as a citizen in the first instance, has ventilated his grievances. And as a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, representing his own senatorial district, he has ventilated his own personal grievances and the grievances of the people he represents.
But then a lot of Nigerians are saying,
so you can't just use hammer on him.
So a lot of Nigerians are saying that Ningi is, only speaking out because he didn't get, as much that he would have expected, because on during the plenary session that he was suspended. While he was making his submission, he said some senators got about 500 million on constituency projects. In fact, Senator Ned Nwoko said he got monies running into billions.
Even Senator Nwoye in Anambra State said he got 250 million. 250 million. 300.
And there is Senator Ningi. There is Senator Abdul Ningi, who obviously said that he did not get as much as the other senators got. Could it be that he did not get, he's only speaking out because he did not get as much as he envisaged, or or he was speaking out in the interest of Nigerians?
Personal interests have to be there. In politics, you have to put your personal interests first before even the general interest. Personal interest will be there, just like you said. Yes, because he's not in the camp of Akpabio, and he was not possibly seen as one of those senators that should have the larger share. Maybe he was just changed, and that he was just changed, he sees that not just him that was just changed, but his own senatorial district that was just changed. Because most of other senators who got the 500 million naira, they are not representing other bigger people than himself. So if you are giving the 500 million naira to every senator, there are just 109 senators. Why not take the 500 million naira around? Why ranking them, ranking senator, old senator, new senator? There's nothing like old senator, new senator. They are senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, representing a senatorial district and the people. So if others have 500 million, you have 250 million naira, ordinarily, you should shout.
Thank you very much, Mr. Richard Oriri, for your insightful analysis. And just before we go, this is a call to Nigeria and Nigerians. You can hear the amount of monies that your senators are receiving for constituency projects. So when you are calling on the president, when you are calling on President Tinubu for not providing certain amenities that you want as Nigerians, you should also take a look at your senators. You should also take a look at your House of Representatives members, because monies are being allocated to them for various constituency projects, and also your state governors for as regards the federal allocation they are receiving, that have in recent months have been doubled. So a lot of people have to be called to accountability. And on that note, we draw the curtain on today's episode of the program. Do join us again, same time, same station tomorrow. My name is Francis Adeniyi. Bye.